So, it has been said that Bruce Lee was a heavy cocaine user, addict, even, as he came close to the end of his career, towards the making and conclusion of Enter the Dragon and even Game of Death around that time in his life, and that he had been using cocaine for years, as was the custom of many Chinese in China. I don't know the validity of it, and it has been said, I believe, as of about a year ago, there was some discovery of some letters where one of Bruce Lee's longtime friends and actors or co-actors in Chinese Connection, Bob Baker, had been supplying Bruce Lee with cocaine and shipping it to him from wherever he was during the time that they had been friends. And Bruce Lee had kept corresponding with him, asking him to send him the stuff and the good stuff and so on and so forth. So now let me pump the brakes on that and let me say this. It's interesting to me how 50 years after this legendary man, this martial arts master who opened the door for many, many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the martial arts, practitioners, and who revolutionized martial arts, how these people start to surface and start trying to degrade his accomplishments, taint his reputation by all of a sudden discovering these things that he had done, allegedly. Now, I was not a fly on the wall, and I don't know if it was true that he used cocaine at this stage in the game. As I'm sitting here speaking to you right now, am I against drugs, illicit drugs? Of course I am. But if it's true that he had used drugs at this stage of the game, as I'm sitting here with you right now, I could care less. Doesn't mean anything. All of that after the fact stuff, 50 years later, to me doesn't hold any weight at all. It doesn't. When you look at the volume of what the man has accomplished as it relates to the martial arts, no one would know martial arts today on the level that they do. No one would have expanded in the martial arts world the way that they have culturally had it not been for Bruce Lee. It's really the truth. Now, there are haters, trolls, and whatever else we want to use to categorize them and explain who they are. However we label these guys, these Bruce Lee haters, they're going to always exist. These are people who have never accomplished anywhere near what Bruce Lee did, because anyone who's worth their weight in gold is not going to talk about someone else. You're going to be okay with who you are as an individual. Now, if I believe in me, for example, I trust my own skill set and where I am as an individual. Just because someone else comes along who's good at what they're doing, or even as good as me or better, what do I look like hating on them because they're great at what they do? Unless there's some sort of insecurity within me. And that's been the case with these haters. They never achieved the greatness that Bruce Lee did. So you can come along 20, 30, 40, 50 years later and say, he was a womanizer. Oh, he didn't do this, and he was just an actor, and he was on cocaine, and so on and so forth. So the heck what now if it's true? Who's pulling back the covers now and trying to investigate Bruce Lee? Who is? The world already has established him. He's already done what he has done. He's already in the history books as the greatest martial artist of our time that has graced our presence, 20th and the 21st century. And he is still a household word name to this very day, 50 years after his death. He still is. And that's never going to change. The nunchakus, and I'm going to leave it at this, Okinawan weapon. No one knew what those were until Bruce Lee, after being taught those by Dan Inosanto. He made them popular the world over. Nobody knew what nunchucks were, or nunchakus. Didn't know what they were. And once we saw him use those in his films, he revolutionized the nunchakus. He made them popular across the world. Everyone was making them and purchasing them. I was cutting up my mother's broomsticks and buying eye screws and eye hooks and chains and trying to build my own pairs and selling them when I was a kid. Everybody wanted to do that. All because of who? Bruce Lee. Didn't know what they were until him. Now, how many publications have been out of nunchaku training, nunchaku videos, nunchaku books? Everybody wanted to make a book. Everybody wanted to teach a class, a seminar, or what have you. All because of him. No one was doing that before him. 2-finger push-ups, 1-finger push-ups. No one was doing that. Come on now. He did a lot of things that no one else did. No one else exposed but him. And then everyone else began to copy him. 1-inch punch, 3-inch punch. No one else did that until he did it. And all of this came from someone who was just an actor. Come on. He was a drug addict. I'm not buying it. I am buying the fact that he was the greatest martial artist of our time, who influenced me, and to this very day still influences my system. That was it, and that was all. What say you?